Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Oh, let's do it.
All right, so today we're tackling the IELTS speaking test, specifically part one. You know that initial interview section
Yeah,
that's supposed to help you relax and at the same time, show off your English speaking skills.
exactly.
And we've got some awesome sources here to help us break down exactly what's going on in that first part.
It is a good warm up, right? Like it's
Oh, for sure. I
oh,
mean, think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet
oh, I like
to understanding what the examiners are really looking for.
yeah, and I think the key takeaway with part one is that it really is all about having a natural conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about using like the biggest, most impressive vocabulary you have. It's about showing that you can communicate
Right.
clearly and comfortably in English about like familiar topics.
Yeah. They want to see you ease in, right?
Exactly.
And speaking of familiar topics, one that comes up all the time in our sources, and I bet you can guess this one, it's work.
Makes sense, right? I mean, it's a big part of most people's lives. Yeah.
Exactly. So let's dive into that a bit. What are they really trying to figure out when they ask about your job?
So, with the work questions, they're really trying to assess your everyday English vocabulary, and your fluency.
Okay.
Can you talk about your daily tasks, your responsibilities at work, using, appropriate vocabulary and grammar?
Yeah. Because it's not just what's your job title?
Right.
Our sources have tons of potential questions. Why you chose this field, if you enjoy it, how you get along with colleagues. I mean, some of these are getting pretty personal.
Oh, yeah. They could ask about your first day,
Yeah.
your responsibilities, if you plan to stay in that role long term.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's getting deep. So, with all these potential questions, it's tempting to want to, pre-prepare.
Right. Right. And, it's funny because while it's tempting to do that, it can actually work against you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if you sound too robotic or overly rehearsed, it actually makes you sound less fluent. So it's really more about understanding how to talk about your work naturally in English.
Okay, so then what's the best way to prepare?
I would say instead of memorizing answers, brainstorm.
Right.
How you would actually answer those questions if someone asked you in a casual conversation. Like, imagine you're explaining your work to someone from a completely different culture.
Oh, okay.
What details would you think they would find interesting, and what kind of unique aspects of your job would you highlight?
Oh, that's good. So it's like finding your own personal work story
Yeah,
that you can then tell in English.
exactly.
But isn't there a danger of being too casual? Where's the line?
Yeah, that's a great point. You definitely don't want to be too slangy or informal.
Yeah.
Think about the tone you'd use if you were meeting like a client or a colleague for the first time.
Okay, so professional but still you.
Yes.
Still
Right.
approachable.
Got it. Okay, so this whole like practice talking about your life in English thing, that goes beyond just work, right?
They could ask about hobbies, daily routines, home life.
Exactly.
I mean, it's all fair game.
It's all fair game in part one. So it's the same kind of strategy.
Okay.
Practice talking about, if you love to paint or, your crazy commute,
How you get comfortable with that.
whatever it is.
And the more you practice, the better you'll be, right?
Exactly. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll feel on test day.
Okay, so big takeaway here, folks. Part one is about showing off those conversational English skills
Yeah.
by talking about you. And guess what? You're already an expert on that.
The ultimate expert.
Exactly. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, I do have one more question, though, before we wrap up.
Okay.
Because, I hear sometimes examiners love to hear about unusual hobbies.
Oh, for sure.
But what if your hobbies are, pretty normal?
Yeah. I actually think any hobby can be interesting if you explain it with passion.
Oh, yeah.
Like instead of just saying, I like to knit, talk about the intricate patterns you create or the feeling of accomplishment when you finish a project.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly.
I like that. Any other last words of wisdom for our listeners who are getting ready for the IELTS?
I would just say, remember, you are the expert on your own life. Use that to your advantage. And practice, practice, practice.
That's it. Practice makes perfect, or at least, as close to perfect as we can get.
Yeah.
All right, so good luck on your IELTS journey, everybody.
Good luck.
We'll catch you in our next deep dive, where we'll be tackling, I don't know, maybe part two of the speaking test. Who knows?
Sounds good.
See ya.
See ya.